Welcome to Unsilenced, Voices That Matter, a space where hope finds a voice and help finds a path. My name is Kate Ibamusi, and I'm excited to have you join me this afternoon. Just a few days ago, on the occasion of the International Women's Day, we introduced this podcast to the world alongside the work of Shira Verenda Full Life Initiative and our platform of For Sisters Only. But today, I want to take a moment to answer a very simple question. Why does this podcast exist? Because the truth is, the world we live in is full of stories. Stories of courage, stories of resilience, stories of kindness, stories of pain. But many of those stories are never heard. Some are hidden behind shame, some behind fear, and some simply disappear because the world is often too busy paying attention to noise instead of meaning. Silence was created to change that. This is a space for stories that matter, stories of survival, stories of service, stories of giving, of healing, stories of comeback, and stories that remind us that even in difficult times, humanity still is alive. Over the years, like I mentioned the other time, my work has taken me into many communities. Through my work in social impact, gender advocacy, community development, and leadership, I've had the privilege of meeting some truly remarkable people. People who give quietly, people who show up every day for others, people who serve communities without recognition. But I've also encountered something else. I have met people carrying very heavy stories, women who survived abuse, young people struggling with uncertainty, families dealing with trauma, communities facing hardship. And many times, what struck me the most was not just the challenge they faced, but the silence around their experiences, the silence around their pain, the silence around their courage. Because often the people doing the most meaningful work are not the ones with the microphones. And the people who most need to be heard are often the ones society overlooks. So I began to ask myself, what would happen if we created a space where those voices could be heard? A space where stories could inspire hope, a space where compassion could meet action, a space where people could say, I see you, I hear you, you are not alone. And that question is what eventually led to Unsilenced. So, what exactly is Unsilenced? Voices that matter. It's not a celebrity podcast. It is not meant to be. It is not about trends. It is not about chasing headlines. This is a human podcast with real people sharing real stories in the real life. Every fortnight going forward, we will bring you conversations with people whose voices deserve to be heard. You will hear from community leaders who are quietly changing lives, organizations providing hope in difficult places, survivors who turned their pain into strength, first responders, teachers, caregivers, and volunteers, everyday people who may never appear on the evening news, but whose impact is real and powerful. Some episodes will inspire you, some may challenge you, some may move you deeply, but every episode will remind you of something important. We are not powerless. And when people come together with compassion and courage, real change becomes possible. This podcast is also part of something bigger. It is connected to the work we do at Shira Verenda Full Life Initiative, an initiative dedicated to advancing dignity, well being, justice, and opportunity in our communities. Through our programs, we work in areas including gender equality and protection, mental health and psychosocial support, education and youth development, community empowerment, access to justice, and social innovations. One of the platforms within this initiative is For Sisters Only, a space focused on creating support systems and opportunities for women. You may wonder why women. Of course, it will always be women. But storytelling is also a powerful form of this change we are looking at. Stories create empathy, stories create connection, Stories help us see each other more clearly, and sometimes hearing someone else's story reminds us that healing and hope are possible. That is the spirit behind Unsilenced. This podcast is not just about listening, it's about connections. So I want to extend an invitation to you. If you are someone doing meaningful work in your community, if you know someone whose story deserves to be heard, if you represent an organization creating positive change, I would love to hear from you. And if you are someone who is going through a difficult time and needs support, please remember this: you are not alone. Through this platform, we will also share resources, information, and ways people can support one another. Because sometimes simply listening can become the beginning of help. Thank you for being a part of this very first episode of Unsilenced Voices That Matter. This podcast is just beginning, but the vision is simple: to amplify voices that inspire courage, compassion, and community action. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to the podcast. We are on Spotify now. Share this episode with someone who might need it, and follow the journey as we continue to tell stories that matter, because every story matters. Thank you again, and see you soon.